Alex Murdaugh's legal team is casting a defense that doesn't exist, lawyer for his former housekeeper says, but the lawyer for a family suing Murdaugh said they were casting a defense that doesn't exist. Murdaugh, whose wife and son were killed in June, was arrested Thursday in connection to an insurance fraud scheme that court documents say involved Murdaugh arranging for his own killing so his surviving son could collect the life insurance payout. The case of his wife and son's death remains unsolved and Murdaugh has denied responsibility. On Wednesday, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division said it was opening a criminal probe into housekeeper Gloria Satterfield's death in February 2018. Satterfield, who spent more than 2 decades working for the family, died in what was described at the time as a trip and fall accident at the Murdaugh home, according to Bland. After her death, Murdaugh misappropriated millions in settlements from the Satterfield family, Bland alleged Thursday. The investigation into Satterfield's death was opened, SLED said, at the request of the Hampton County coroner, who highlighted inconsistencies with Satterfield's stated manner of death, as well as information gathered during SLED's other investigations involving Murdaugh. The decedent's death was not reported to the coroner at the time, nor was an autopsy performed, the coroner's request to SLED said. On the death certificate, the manner of death was ruled natural, which is inconsistent with injuries sustained in a trip and fall accident. Murdaugh appeared in court Thursday, where Hampton County Magistrate Judge Tanya Alexander set a $20,000 personal recognizance bond. Murdaugh was required to surrender his passport to SLED and sign a waiver of extradition. He faces charges of insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and filing a false police report, according to a statement from the SLED. The case will be prosecuted by the state attorney general's office. His attorney Dick Harpootlian said Murdaugh would be returning to an out-of-state rehabilitation center where he's being treated for an opioid addiction that the attorney said contributed to his financial issues. At one point, Murdaugh appeared to wipe tears from beneath his glasses while Harpootlian described the killings of his wife and son and the toll their deaths had on him. He has fallen from grace, Harpootlian said. But before any of that falling happened, his wife and son were brutally murdered, and that has had an extraordinary effect on him. So we'd ask you to allow him to go and help heal himself. Conspiracy. After he was shot, Murdaugh called 911 to report he had been shot on a road in Hampton County, according to SLED, and he was taken to a hospital in Savannah, Georgia. Authorities initially described Murdaugh's injury as a superficial gunshot wound to the head, though Murdaugh's attorneys said his skull was fractured in the shooting. Murdaugh allegedly provided Smith with a firearm and directed Smith to shoot him in the head. Smith admitted Tuesday to being present at the shooting and to disposing of the firearm afterward. The affidavit states. Murdaugh decided to end his own life but believed his life insurance policy had a suicide exclusion, Harpootlian told NBC's Today Show, and that the scheme was an attempt on his part to do something to protect his eldest and only living child. Smith, 61, was charged Wednesday with assisted suicide, assault, and battery of a high and aggravated nature, pointing and presenting a firearm, insurance fraud, and conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, according to the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. On Thursday, Hampton County Magistrate Judge Alexander set bond for Smith at $55,000. Asked if he was interested in a public defender, Smith replied, "I'm probably going to look at one, yes," adding he would likely apply for one early next week. Murdaugh had represented Smith as his attorney on at least 2 occasions dating back to 2010, according to court records from the Culleton County 14th Judicial Circuit. He first represented Smith in a personal injury lawsuit that Smith brought against a land management company. Murdaugh is also listed as Smith's attorney for a 2013 traffic infraction, the court documents show. Investigations into multiple deaths. Murdaugh's arrest Thursday is the latest development in what's become a sprawling, high-profile crime saga unfolding in the southern region of the Palmetto State, where the Murdaugh family has been a powerful legal dynasty for decades. Got over 87 consecutive years. 3 generations of Murdaughs served as the 14th Circuit Solicitor, an office that controls the prosecutions in Allendale, Beaufort, Culleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties. Tragedy first struck in early June, when Alex Murdaugh's wife Margaret and son Paul, 22, were shot dead outside the family's home in Island-Ton, about an hour north of Hilton Head Island, according to SLED. Culleton County Sheriff's deputies determined both victims had suffered multiple gunshot wounds. At the time of his death, Paul Murdaugh was facing charges of boating under the influence, causing great bodily harm, and causing death in connection to a 2019 boat crash that claimed the life of 19-year-old Mallory Beach, court records show. Paul had pleaded not guilty and court records show the charges were dropped after his death. About 2 weeks after the killings, SLED announced that, based on information gathered in the course of the investigation, it was reopening an investigation into the death of Stephen Smith, a 19-year-old whose body was found on a Hampton County road in 2015.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.